The patent war is on in Silicon Valley. The latest skirmish, Yahoo versus Facebook. Yahoo claims the social network has infringed on patents critical to such features as messaging and website customization. And the timing of this lawsuit doesn't appear to be accidental, just weeks before Facebook's upcoming IPO. With us this morning to talk about the patent wars is Aaron Michael Gill. He's Chief Intellectual Property Officer at MDB Capital Group, up early for us in San Francisco. Aaron Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
So we know that Facebook wants to, quote unquote, own the internet. When it comes to intellectual property, that could end up getting very expensive, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact is that Facebook has grown up very, very quickly from a technology perspective. However, the internet has been growing for years. And ultimately, their patent portfolio was several order of magnitude lower than what you would expect for a company the size of someone like Facebook.
So where is Facebook likely to face the most patent friction, call it? We know that the company is being sued by Yahoo. There is a lesser-known lawsuit from a company called Mittal. Where else?
Right. Well, the issue is that what companies are going through a period of transition, right? Any company that IP is important during startup, transition, and potentially during wind down. And you look at companies, obviously, like Yahoo, but similarly, you see what's going on with AOL and potentially companies like RIM, where anytime there's turmoil, you look for potential aggression. And so you would expect players like that, even if they don't have potentially the most applicable assets, to actually be most aggressive in trying to monetize those assets.
But how do you determine where the greatest risks are for a company like Facebook, for example? How do you know who's likely to go after Facebook next?
Well, there's two things. One is on the product perspective. When you look at where Facebook is going on their technology roadmap, you can map to see who is there first. Even though Facebook might be excellent in terms of execution, they have to understand that potentially others have innovated in that same space first. So when you look at the product roadmap, that's the first thing. The second thing is their technology roadmap. If you see where they're developing their IP, there's things called patent citations. And if you look at their citation ratio, a company like Amazon jumps out very, very explicitly. And you see that Facebook is citing Amazon at a rate of 6 times what Amazon is citing Facebook. And there could be potentially a secondary indicator that while they might not be as aggressive, on a defensive perspective, there might be some significant cross-licensing opportunities there.
So the more we see Facebook, the more these citations increase and the more we see Facebook begin to, I won't say infringe, but encroach upon the territory of a company like Amazon, the greater the risk becomes.
Very, very much so. And you'd only expect that to increase over time as they broaden and, get ambitious and visionary. You're going to need to see a detailed strategic plan going forward from Facebook that very well might be expensive to execute, but fundamentally it's going to enable the core business, which is what most people are going to be caring about.
Aaron Michael, I want to read you a quote. I'm sure you've seen this from Facebook's IPO filing, the amended S1. It reads, "From time to time, we may introduce new products, including in areas where we currently do not compete, which could increase our exposure to patent and other intellectual property claims from competitors and non-practicing entities." That's a pretty bland statement. Is Facebook being upfront with its investors about the risks, the potential investors, I should add, about the risks that it faces in the intellectual property world?
Well, it's certainly correct that they've identified that that's the risk. What they, I don't think, have yet quantified is the magnitude, right? And, when Yahoo went ahead and actually made public the filing when they filed the lawsuit, they were saying that they spent over $4 billion developing that patent portfolio of over 1,000 patents. And so if you're trying to say that they're going to be able to grow into these areas inexpensively, I think that's fairly unlikely. However, with a careful mapped out strategy, there are ways to mitigate these risks, and much like they did with the announced acquisition of the IBM portfolio, which to some extent solves their begins to address their Yahoo problem, they're going to need to continue to do things like that, strategically mapping their IP strategy with their product roadmap.
Does that arms race theory work, that you can buy your way into a stronger position? Are the patents that Facebook really needs available for purchase?
Well, if the price is right, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a floor value to intellectual property assets, right? In terms of simply, looking at discounted cash flows on what the licensing revenue is going to be. But then you look at strategic value and saying, well, for the right price, IBM is more than happy to offload thousands of patents, and they've, much like they did with Google, to address very specific needs that the core business has identified. So it's not the ideal way. You'd like to see, like Apple, who's incredible. Apple develops something, productizes it, and continues to grow organically. They're unbelievable. So you'd like to see like that, and the market rewards differentiated products where you invent, put it into a product, and are able to sustain price and margin based on those core innovations. That's what's important. And if Facebook starts to imbibe those sorts of philosophies, then you're going to see a truly sustainable company from an IP perspective.